HMEO, you have to be very careful. Don't let our faith become yours. Beauty can attract the wrong kind of attention. He married me because of my beauty, and ever since I got pregnant and my body and skin color changed due to hormonal imbalances, it changed completely and turned into a chronic cheater running after campus girls. A man who wants to marry you just because of your beauty is a red flag. I wished I knew. But now I am stuck. Once upon a time in a far-away village in West Africa called Ero, there lived a couple named Oke and Chinelo. They were blessed with 3 beautiful daughters. Their youngest daughter was named Ife, which means good thing. Our parents chose this name because they believed she was as precious as gold to them. However, Ife's beauty was so striking and in the village that everyone began to call her Eo Ino, which means pounds and dollars baby. This nickname reflected how the villagers saw her beauty as valuable and extraordinary. Over time, the shorter version of her nickname Ego became more commonly used. As Ego grew up, her beauty only became more dazzling and the nickname stuck. Eventually everyone in the village, including her family, forgot her real name was If. Whenever she introduced herself, she used the name everyone knew her by. The villagers would often say to her, "You are truly beautiful, like a real gem," expressing their admiration for her unique beauty, and so you became an identity known and admired by everyone in the village. Our beauty was celebrated and her presence brought a sense of wonder to the village. However, Ego was much more than just a beautiful face. She possessed a kind heart and a remarkable talent for creating stony fabrics and sewing beautiful clothes. As the youngest of the 3 daughters, she admired and looked up to her older sisters Odana and Cha, who were also strikingly beautiful in their own right. Despite their shared beauty, each sister had their own unique qualities that set them apart. Ego deeply loved her family and was immensely proud of her sisters. She spent countless hours learning the art of fabric making and sewing from her mother, owning her skill with dedication and passion. Our creations were admired not just within our family but throughout the village. People marveled at the unique designs and flawless craftsmanship of her work. Ego's kindness was evident in her daily interactions. She was always ready to help her neighbors, whether it was mending a tea dress or creating a special outfit for a village celebration. Generosity and talent made her beloved by everyone in the village, further enhancing her reputation. Despite her beauty and talent, Ego remained humble and grounded. She cherished the bond she had with her sisters Odana and Sha, who supported and encouraged her in all her endeavors. Their sisterly love was a source of strength and inspiration for Eo, driving her to continue improving her crafts and spreading kindness wherever she went. In every way, Ego was a real gem in our village, not just for her striking beauty but for her warm heart and incredible skills. However, as Ego grew older, she began to notice that beauty alone did not guarantee happiness. Odana and Cha, our admired old sisters, had captivated the heart of wealthy men who came from the city to marry them. Their beauty, which initially seemed like a blessing, turned out to be a double-edged sword. Ego witnessed as sisters' weddings, which were grand affairs filled with music, dancing, and promises of a bright future. The men who married Odana and Sha had assured their parents that they would support the girls in furthering their education, but once they were married, these promises were broken. Ad's husband, despite his wealth, was unfaithful and often left her feeling lonely and abandoned. She spent many nights alone, wondering why her beauty had brought her such sorrow. Sh's situation was even worse. Her husband was abusive and constantly accused her of infidelity. She lived in fear and despair, unable to escape the torment she faced daily. Both sisters found themselves trapped in their unhappy marriages. They could not live because they lacked the skill or education to support themselves independently. The bright futures they had been promised turned into harsh realities filled with disappointment and pain. Ego watched this event unfold with a heavy heart. She realized that the admiration and allure of beauty could bring as much sorrow as joy. Her sister's experiences taught her that relying on beauty alone was not enough. She needed strength, skills, and independence to navigate the complexities of life. This revelation shaped Ego's understanding of true happiness and the importance of being self-reliant. One afternoon, Ego packed few of her clothes to visit her sisters in the city. She first visited Adon. The mansion was beautiful, but the atmosphere inside was cold and sad. Odana sat by the window looking miserable. "You have to be careful, Ego," Odana warned, a voice trembling. "Don't let our faith become yours. Beauty can attract the wrong kind of attention. He married me because of my beauty, and ever since I got pregnant and my body and skin color changed due to hormonal imbalances, it changed completely and turned into a chronic cheater, running after campus girls. A man who wants to marry you just because of your beauty is a red flag. I wish I knew, but now I am stuck. I can't leave." Ego knew that, solemnly understanding the depth of her sister's despair. Next, she visited Shao, what had a bruise on her face and body from a recent beating. "Why don't you leave him, Sister Cha?" Ego asked, tears welling in her eyes. "I have nowhere to go and I don't want to be being to our parents. Besides, they rely on the money is sent to them. I can't leave. I wish I did not marry him. He married me because of my beauty and shape. Now the shape is gone after the birth of my son, and now it turned to a beast beating me at the slightest mistake," Sha replied, her voice barely a whisper. Igo's heart ached for her sisters. She realized how trapped they were in their marriages, suffering in silence to oppose the family's financial stability. This stark contrast between the luxurious surroundings and their personal anguish reinforced a determination not to fall into the same trap. She vowed to carve out a different path for herself, one where she could be independent and free from such suffering. Ego returned home from visiting her sisters in the city carrying an assortment of gifts, clothes, food, and other items as sister had given her. As she stepped into their small motherless house in the village, her mother greeted her warmly. "Io, you are back," her mother exclaimed, a eye lighting up with joy. "What did you bring?" Io handed and mother the bags. "Yeah, mama, these are from Adana and Shah. They wanted to make sure you have everything you need." Mother began to unpack the bags, smiling at the content. Yet despite the pleasant atmosphere, heart was heavy. She could no longer keep her feelings bottled up. "Mama, I need to talk to you," she said, her voice serious and filled with concern. Sensing the urgency in her daughter's tone, a mother looked up. "What is it, my child?" Ego took a deep breath, bracing herself to reveal the painful truths. "Mama, Adon and Shah are suffering. Adon's husband cheats on her all the time," she confessed. Her mother sighed deeply and shook her head, a lot of resignation on her face. "Io, you are still young. You do not understand anything about marriage yet. When you grow up you will see that a woman must be strong and endure a marriage just like I have." Confusion and frustration washed over Ego. "But Mama, why should they stay if they are unhappy?" she asked, struggling to comprehend her mother's acceptance of such misery. A mother sat down and looked at Ego with a tired expression, the waste of her own experiences evident in her eyes. "Do you think I stay with your father because I am happy all the time?" "No, Ego, I stay because it is my duty as a wife and mother. We must be strong for our family. A woman must endure our marriage through it all. A woman must make her own work. In our tradition, when a woman is give out in marriage, that is all. Oh, you are left alone to carry your burdens. That is why a woman must endure." Ego felt a wave of sadness and delusion. She saw a mother, a woman she deeply respected, enjoying a life of sacrifice and unfulfilled dreams. The revelation was jarring, paying her question the societal norms that accepted women to endure suffering in silence for the sake of family unity. This conversation marked a turning point for Ego, solidifying a resolve to pursue a different path, one where she could not be confined by the same expectations and hardships that trapped her mother and her sisters. Ego felt a wave of sadness wash over her. "But Mama, I don't want to live like that. I don't want to suffer." Like Odana and Sha, she said, tears in her eyes. Her mother took her hand gently. Every woman has her struggles. Marriage is not always easy, but we must do what we can to keep our family together. Eyes filled with tears. Mama, I promise you I will not settle for a marriage like my sisters. I want to study, become a fashion designer, and a fabric maker, and make my own way in my life, she said with determination. Her mother looked at her with a mix of pride and worry. You are smart, Ego. I hope your dreams come true, but remember, life is not always as simple as we wish it to be, she said. Ego nodded, understanding a mother's words, but still resolute in her heart, she knew she had to follow her own path no matter how difficult it might be. She opened her mother tightly, feeling a deep love for her but also a firm resolve to change her own destiny. As mother, though worried about the challenges a daughter might face, admired Ego determination. You have always been strong-willed, Iyo. If anyone can carve out a new path, it's you, she said softly, brushing a tear from her daughter's cheek. Ego was determined to break the circle of dependence and suffering that had plagued the woman in her family. From that moment on, Ego poured all her energy into her studies and her passion for fashion design. She knew the road ahead would be tough, but she was prepared to face any obstacle that came her way. Ego was driven by the desire to create a better future for herself and perhaps to inspire other women in our village to pursue their dreams and seek independence one day. While Iyo was walking home from school chatting with her friends from high school, they were all in awe of our skill in needlework, praising her designs and talents. You are so talented, everyone loves your clothes, said Ekuna, one of our friends. Thank you, Ekuna, Ego replied with a smile. I just love making beautiful things. As they were about to part ways, Iyo turned to another friend. Please help me remind your mother that I will finish a dress this weekend. He can come and collect it on Sunday. Ego said, I will. Ego, thank you so much, Ego responded cheerfully. They all waved goodbye and Ego continued her journey home. As she walked down the dusty village road, a shiny luxury car drove past her and then suddenly reversed back. The window rolled down and a well-dressed man called out to her, hello da beautiful, what's your name? The man asked, smiling warmly. Ego stopped in her tracks and looked at him, feeling a wave of discomfort. My name is Iyo. What do you want? She asked, trying to keep her voice steady. The man grinned, clearly amused. You are very beautiful, Ego. I like you. I want to get to know you better. Ego frowned and shook her head. Thank you, but I'm not interested, she said firmly, hoping to end the conversation. The man seemed surprised by her response, but he didn't give up easily. He asked where she lived and drove to her house. When he arrived, he confidently approached Iyo's parents and told them the same story as sisters' husbands had once told. I want to marry your daughter, he declared. I will take her to the city and help her further her studies. She will have a good life with me. Ego's parents were thrilled and tried to persuade her. This is a wonderful opportunity for you. Ego is a wealthy man and he will take care of you, they added. However, Ego stood edgy. No, Mama, Papa, I do not want to marry him. I want to continue my studies and become a fabric and fashion designer, she insisted. Despite her parents' repeated attempts to change her mind, Ego refused the man's proposal. Over time, many other tutors came, each promising her heaven and earth, but Ego turned them all down. At the end of the year, the results from our school exams were announced. Ego was nervous but hopeful as she went to check her results. When she saw her scores, she was overjoyed. She has passed with flying colors, and her dreams of going to college to study fabric and fashion designing was within reach. She ran home to share the good news with her parents. Mama, Papa, I did it. I passed my exams with IM marks. I can go to college now, she exclaimed. Her parents were proud and happy for her. We are so proud of you, Ego. You have worked so hard and now you can achieve your dreams, they said. A good journey to the city to study fabric making and fashion design was made possible by the money she had saved from making beautiful fabrics and sewing clothes for our villagers. Her sister Odana also helped her pay for college for the whole year. When Iyo arrived in the city, she stayed with Odana since Odana's house was closer to the college. On Ago's first day of college she attracted a lot of attention. Beauty and the stylish clothes she had designed for herself made her stand out. Everyone, including the lecturers, noticed her. A group of ladies often came up to her to compliment our outfit. "Wow, your dress is amazing. Did you make it yourself?" one of the girls asked. "Yes, I did," Ego replied with a smile. "She's so talented and beautiful," another girl said, and everyone nodded in agreement. As Ago walked through the college, people stared at her, admiring her beauty and talent. That first week was very exciting for her. Many girls wanted to be a friend, and they would wave at her from a distance or call out, "How are you, Io?" They would even ignore whoever they were working with just to get our attention. Ego received a lot of attention from the guys too. Even guys from other departments would hitch around Ago's department just to talk to her or ask if they could buy her lunch. Would you like to have lunch with me today?" one of the boys asked. "Thank you, but I already have plans," Ego would reply politely. Despite all the attention, Ego was unsure who truly liked her. For who she was, she felt that people were drawn to her looks rather than her personality. After the first week of classes, Ego was due to move into the college hostel that Friday. After her classes, she went back to Adana's house. She could hear Adana and her husband arguing. Her husband body shamed her and even called her beauty without a brain. This made Ego very upset. In her mind she thought, "No man should ever love me just because of my beauty. That is not genuine love." That night Ego took her old sewing kit and started making a mask to cover her face. The material was small, but she had to put many pieces together, resulting in a lot of stitches. Ego didn't care about the appearance of the mask, she just needed something to cover her face. She used a silicone texture that felt like real skin. Was look ideas. On Sunday night, Odana drove Ago to the hostel where she would stay. They aired and said goodbye. "I will come to visit you whenever I can. Okay, study hard, be focused," Odana said to Ago. Ego was alone in her hostel because her roommate had not yet moved in. On Monday, Ego went to school wearing her face mask. No one recognized her as Io. As soon as she reached the academic area, everyone was whispering and laughing. "Who is that?" someone said. Ego went to the friend she had made during the first week and told them, "It's me, Ego." They laughed. "Connell, do you think you can ever look as beautiful as Ego? Do you even look at yourself in the mirror?" They mocked. "Don't look our way ever again." In class, everyone started asking, "Where is Ego today?" Even the lecturers who admired her beauty asked. But no one knew the first day of the week was very long for Ago. Students from other O came just to see her. No one wanted to be seen hanging out with her during breaks. It was like a museum exhibit. Everyone came to watch her, to see her ugly face and mock her, but Ego didn't care. She was used to being famous for her beauty, and now she was getting used to being noticed for her ugliness. Guys, kindly watch out for part 2. It's about to get more interesting.